Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are going to review another John Carpenter cult classic called Body Bags.
It's a sort of John Carpenter in many ways, isn't it?
Well, it's both directed by John Carpenter and by Tobe Hooper, who was the guy who did Chainsaw Massacre 1 or 2, and of course he passed away many years ago, obviously. But John Carpenter is still around and kicking, so it's good to see him working hard. And as you guys are well aware, he did that real true to life story anthology series that's not TV series that came out not too long ago. You know, the suburban screams. So it's so we're going to actually watch a few. We're going to tell you guys a bit about another anthology he worked on, but not more of a sort of fun fantasy horror related one. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah. All good things.
So let's dive into it, shall we?
Now, being an anthology, they sometimes use different directors for each story. So if Sarah doesn't rush into it too quickly, I'll tell you who directed each story, okay?
Right.
Now, I can't tell you lots and lots about money and stuff, because this was an anthology made for TV, so I don't know what the budget was. There's no ticket sales, obviously. But
Damn.
I will go through a few things. John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper, as Sarah said, they directed these thingies. They're written by Billy Brown and Dan Angel. Mm-hmm. Now, I won't go through too many people here and there, but they've pulled a lot of well-known people into this project. You've got Stacey Keach, David Warner, Sheena Easton, Debbie Harry, Mark Hamill, Twiggy, Robert Carradine. They threw all these people. They must have known each other. Hey, we're going to make a movie. Do you want to come and be part of it? Slow day? Yeah, why not? So,
of course, aside from those big faces, there's also the famous directors you may get to see in this one, including in this one, where the following guys are in it. There's John Carpenter.
He plays a role in. We'll talk about it in a minute.
And Tobe Hooper, Wes Craven, Sam Raimi. You may know him as the guy who directed Evil Dead, the original, obviously.
And wait a minute.
And Roger Corman.
Roger Corman plays a doctor.
And Greg Nicotero, that you've heard me talk about so many times. So it's such, even aside from famous actors' faces, there's also a lot of famous directors who are kind of working as actors in this production too.
Yeah, actually, I'll give you a bit of a rundown of a couple of people. Sarah's going to go through the stories in a minute, but the first station has features called The Gas Station. It features Robert Carradine as a gas station attendant, with cameos by David Norton, Sam Raimi, and Wes Craven. And here, the next story has got Stacey Keach in it. The other story is called that features Mark Hamill. We know who Mark is, don't we?
No, yes we do, folks. I bet he gets tired of hearing that so often.
Yeah, so that's the sort of that's the sort of stuff we're looking at. However, Sarah will tell you some stories. I'll give a bit of a prompt. This first one's going to be Gas Station.
Oh, I should mention the narrative and the prologue and the epilogue.
But I'm going to get in here. So you're going to talk about the intro and different things. But when the first station, Gas Station, is directed by John Carpenter. So Sarah can introduce the prologue and the gas station. Okay. There you go.
So the prologue begins with this morgue officer is there who...
really creepy dude.
Who's played by John Carpenter himself, folks.
You never thought he could act, eh?
Yeah, he dresses the audience,
he's dressing the camera.
He's dressed as the camera, because that makes a little bit more sense if he didn't. Anyway, so he's a morgue officer who talks about, the body bags that are brought in by police and other crime stuff.
He likes the interesting ones. Natural causes.
Natural causes like...
this is an interesting one.
He talks about this one of that takes place in a gas station, and this is where we get our first story of the season that takes place in Hemmingfield, which is the place Haddonfield where the Halloween series comes from, supposedly.
Yeah, because it actually says it here in the notes here. It's a reference to Carpenter's Halloween.
I wonder if it was John Carpenter's idea.
I wouldn't move to that town, would you guys?
I wonder if this was an idea that John Carpenter requested from the writers to include in the story.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, so it takes place in a gas station, and this woman who's there for her first time, she's not working there.
Yeah, she's a student. She bounced around doing casual work at garages and stuff. This is the first night at this particular service station, garage, if you will.
As she meets the guy named Bill. He gives her a tour of the keys, where the toilets are, and etc., etc., etc. And then she starts her work, where she meets lots of creepy faces. The first one is Wes Craven's creepiest acting job in the world, playing a weirdo, just staring at her in a weird, creepy fashion.
Yeah, a bit of a sleazebag type,
Yeah. If you met him, you'll see.
The night brings him out all the time. Yeah.
Anyway, she also meets a younger man who also asking for gas for his not one of those expensive type cars. I could not say what it was. Mike and I were trying to figure out what type of car it was, but I can't really say what it was, when I think about it.
The car.
Yeah, remember that it was one of those cars that doesn't have a roof. Very fancy.
It's a convertible, but it could have been upmarket one. Yeah.
One of those old timey cars that looks like a classic kind of
would have
car.
been. Well, it was about 93. It had a big power convertible.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway, he then heads off. Most of the time when we watch these people head off, it seems very creepily when you think about it. Like, they don't talk, they just drive off, and that's the last time you see them. The next one is a hermit who is just he just wants to go to the bathroom. So
I think he doesn't want to have a sleep, maybe, or do something. But
of course, she
maybe
gets locked out of her office. I should mention that she's in an office booth.
The self-locking door and left the keys inside. As you walked that door and the door closed behind her. That's what Sarah's trying to say.
So she goes into the garage itself and tries to find sort of another key that's there. She finds it, and of course, after getting a few jump scares in the scene, she was able to get the key, and she was able to get the toilet keys for the homeless man. And he goes off. And later on, we meet two more people who are a couple who are a bit silly when I think about this scene, because the wifey doesn't know how to use the gas pumps.
Yeah.
What in dynasty has she arrived in? Beats me.
Well, beam me up, Scotty. Hey, even now they're not hard. You pick up the hose, and you just turn the little handle down that goes, and you put the fuel into your car, and then you go, turn it off, handle, and then you put the little lever back up, and you put the thing back on it. It's really easy.
Yeah, they then make their escape, and eventually, later on, as she's settling in, I think she starts noticing something in the garage, and she goes in there, and I think she learns that we find out that the guy that she met in the beginning is not who he claims to be. It turns out he is not the staff member there.
Yeah, he's wearing a shirt of Pete written on it, but he's not, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But he wasn't.
Yeah,
Pete.
It turns out his name was Bill.
Oh, Bill, sorry,
Yeah. Anyway, so he kind of contacts her on one of the phone inside and tells her that while he kind of cuts off the line, obviously, and tells her,
do that.
Yeah, and she gets freaked out and stuff, and he approaches her, and she tries to phone the police, but of course, being a scared person, she tries to get away from the killer, and she finds the Bill guy in the locker room that's been and there we find his dead body. And it turns out it's actually Sam Raimi, you guys.
Oh, there you go then.
Yeah, who's playing a cadaver, or at least a corpse.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Anyway, she escapes him.
Yeah, he's listed as dead Bill. Gee.
Anyway, she escapes into the garage, and she tries to get into the car, and there we find the dead hermit.
Guy.
I should mention that. I should have mentioned that she finds the hermit earlier, but
He's not a hermit. He's a tramp. He's a street person, whatever. Yeah.
And she heads inside the car, and she tries to get away, but unfortunately, it's still on the special rigging thing that won't allow you to
pneumatic
go.
sort of lift thing, so the guy just flips the switch and goes up a little bit, so the wheels aren't touching the ground, are they?
Yeah. Yeah. Soon enough, the young guy who she met earlier. Appears, and he starts fighting the guy. Eventually, after a bit of a fight, the guy that we met earlier, he kind of falls down, and knocks him out, obviously. And he's about to approach our girl, but then he slips, and she then crushes him with the car.
Yes, he turns the power off on the pneumatic lift, and it goes down and squashes him. And there's blood all over the place.
Yeah,
well done, Johnny.
And then the guy, that was knocked out says he just forgot his card. Anyway,
Yes.
we then cross over to the next story, which is called Hair,
Yeah, I wish I had some-
which is about a man
Wait a
who's
minute.
obsessed with his hair appearance.
This is another one by John Carpenter. Yeah.
Yes, and this one's about a man who's obsessed with not wanting
He's
hair.
He's going bald like me.
Yeah. Then he comes across a miracle cure that, according to,
It's been advertised on
That's
telly.
advertised
You
on
believe
telly.
everything on the television.
and he decides to go check this thing out, and the guy there offers him, hair without
Instant hair
instant
overnight.
hair.
No operation, no nothing. I wish I could get some of this.
Yeah. He then gets he goes on and shows him how the computer device where it shows you what type of hairs you can expect from this machine. And he wants
Different
something.
designs, yes,
He
styles,
wants
yeah.
something that's a very big load of hair, like women's style hair, like long down to the waist.
And actually, it's quite funny. He wants this. He's middle aged. It's
Yeah.
Stacey Keach. He's middle aged. He's chunky, and he chooses really long straight hair, which would suit a young hippie type person,
Yeah,
which really
young,
doesn't suit him.
Yeah, would
So-
suit a young, maybe person, maybe, and maybe a pop star or something.
Here's something. Talking about stars, the guy who plays a doctor in this.
Oh, I know
is
him.
David Warner. One of my favourites. He always plays a nasty guy.
Sometimes.
I don't. No, he was in Tron. Played the nasty guy, took over everything, and he showed up in a lot of things like Hammer horror type things over the years, I think, as well, and other films. He's always played the nasty guy. I don't think he ever played. I'm a really nice guy. Nah.
Well, I think he did play a few, but but mostly co-star stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, soon enough, he realizes after, say, a few more days, he notices his hair's kind of growing more and more.
Yeah, that was
Even
really
after
good.
it's placed on his head.
It's supposed to grow overnight to whatever length it was,
Yeah.
but he says during the day it grew another 6 inches.
He then starts
Yeah.
complaining about a scratchiness in his throat.
Yeah, it's a bit tickling his throat. Go, yeah, like
like
get it.
a hair ball or something.
Well, yeah, furball in this
yeah.
case. Yeah.
Yeah. We also find out when his hair gets cut, some of the strands start moving like in a wormy kind of motion.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Then later on in the next couple of days, the hair on his head, it starts spreading to his other parts of his skin.
His cheeks and stuff. He's starting to look like
The
not
Wolfman.
quite a wolf man, but on the way. Yes.
Yes. Anyway, he then realizes something's wrong, so he heads back to the doctor's office and he confronts the doctor and the nurse. And he explains that they're aliens from another place, and these little strands of hair are actually their
Little wormy type things, and they're with the hair. And the thing is, they like to feed on human beings, and the best bit is
the brain.
the brain. Mm.
Anyway, they then make plans of organising the next patient, and now he's at a bit of a dead brain type state.
So you got him in a room
I
there.
think the better term is
brain dead.
I think vegetable state.
Yeah. Now, before we go on,
Oh, I should mention, guys,
Yeah.
that this man, his act of death in this was he kind of threw himself out of a window and got crushed by a car and got towed along.
Well, that's what we're told by the morgue attendant, but I don't know whether it was just leftovers thrown in front of the car.
He may have been just
leftovers.
He may have just been pushed out the window.
Get rid of him. Get
rid of a dead body.
Yeah, well, he's a retard now. Let's get now. It's going to, like I said, Stacey Keats was in it, playing the main role, and David Warner. Now, a couple of names you'll recognise. Sheena Easton, the singer, she played Megan, his girlfriend. Greg Nicotero did a cameo walking past a man with a dog.
Yeah, I kind of missed that. Sorry, folks, guys. I mean,
that's okay.
I mean, I was more focused on the story than more about the actors.
And Deborah Harry. I didn't recognise Deborah. She was playing the nurse.
Ooh.
Debbie Harry, really good singer, fantastic lady.
Well, that's right.
Anyway, do you want to get on the next story?
Our next story is called I.
And this is directed by Tobe Hooper.
See, I told you it would pop up. Anyway, so in this story, it's about a man who's a baseball player, but gets into a horrible accident, a car accident, and somehow one of his eyes gets damaged, and so this is a chance that he may never get to see again through that eye, because that will ruin his career. And
He won't be able to see the ball coming at him.
Nope. I don't know if anyone ever gone to an accident and still be able to maintain their career.
Well, it depends what you're doing. Like if you need two eyes to coordinate yourself, you're going to be really pushing it.
Yeah. Anyway, so luckily enough, also, the doctor in the scene is Roger Corman, I think. Corman, who plays one of the doctors. And the other doctor soon appears in the scene where he tells him, I have this mirror, I have sort of an eye that I might like to possibly,
it was experimental surgery to do an eye transplant.
Yeah. So after a brief conversation with his wife, they decide to...
The eyes have it.
Yeah, they decide to go with it. And so they go through the surgery. It's very graphic, very gory, very creepy.
Oh, yeah, you see the surgery, and I had to turn away. I really don't like too much blood, and this was really good. No.
Anyway, soon enough, he wakes, and the eye is... It's a different shade, obviously, but he says with a contact lens,
never know.
No one will ever know. Of course, as he's adjusting to this new eye, he starts seeing some weird stuff going down. Like he starts seeing a body in his backyard, which isn't there, and other stuff like memories that he never even had, like stuff like that.
The problem with transplants. Hey.
Yeah. Anyway, soon enough, his wife tells him the big news. I'm pregnant. We're going to have a kid. Yeah. Of course.
We had one or two, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of them's next to me right now.
Very funny. Anyway, so as he can't go do any strenuous activities according to his doctor. So he's not allowed to do any.
Well, he's had major surgery, so you don't want to rupture stitches and start blood. What do you call them? When blood starts.
Yeah. As he's as he goes, as the visions and memories start reappearing here and there, his brain gets a lot of headaches. That's the better way I could describe it.
I know what he gets. I get them every day. Yeah.
Anyway, we then work out that the eye that he received was actually from a man who died in a gas chamber because he was a nasty criminal,
homicidal maniac.
Yeah. He then his name's John. What was his name?
Fred Smith. I don't know. The eyeballs. The eyes have it. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter. He goes on.
John Randall.
Okay. John Randall.
What a great name.
He goes to the library to find out as much as he could about him, and find out that this guy, he was abused as a child and stuff like that, and when he was a fully grown adult, he went on he killed young women and stuff like that, and probably had sex with their bodies when they're dead.
Yeah.
My theory is
necrophilia.
Yeah. Anyway, later on, he feels this eye is kind of possessing him, which is a bit weird because...
No, the eye's taking out, technically speaking, it wouldn't. There's no brain in it. But the power of the eye The evilness out of the man's body, who it used to belong to, is starting to take over. There.
Yeah, he was about to attack and kill his wife, but of course, he then, thanks to the Bible and thanks to a teeny weeny bit left of his
There's
will.
still a bit of him still in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He then kind of pucks out his eye.
He had some garden shears and he shoved it into his eye to destroy the eye.
And probably destroyed his any parts of his brain, killing him.
What happened? No, I read up on this. He shoved the shears into his eye to destroy the eye, but while he was laying there, he bled to death.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind.
And, of course, we get the famous quote from the Bible I'm not going to mention, obviously.
If your eye offends thee, pluck it out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that bit, yeah.
Who would ever write that? I'll never know.
No, it's in the Bible. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, then we cross over to back to the morgue office.
I'll say who was in this. Can I say?
You already did. Mike.
I did not. I said what was in the other one.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, and I haven't mentioned the other people.
Sorry.
Mark Hamill played Brent Matthews. His wife was played by Twiggy.
I heard of her. She's a famous singer, I think, or famous actress.
Model. He did a bit of acting too, I think. Yeah. Now John Agar played Dr. Lang. He was the old guy who did the transplant. Now Roger Corman played Dr. Brigman. And so very interesting. All these people jumping out of the shadows.
Agree.
Now, back to the morgue attendant.
Yeah. So he's about to wrap up, as we say, and then we hear something coming in the background, indicating these are
some people coming.
So he rips off the morgue outfit, and we see a blood stain on his shirt, which indicates that he's not the morgue officer in charge.
He's a dead body.
He's a dead body. He then gets himself inside the body bag stuff, and he says night, and then the two officers arrive, and one of them is Tobe Hooper playing one of the morgue officers.
Now here's something. The noise shown between the two morgue officers who to begin the autopsy on John Doe. He's a guy who's been found in the street or somewhere or other, so a corpse with no name. We don't know where he came from. We don't know his story, do we?
Yeah. Anyway, as they start pulling out guts, and they noticed he's been drinking
formaldehyde and stuff, and
like it was martinis.
Yeah, he was. He had a martini glass. Yeah.
Anyway, they then start making plans on using the head saw to cut his
and that's
brain
when we did the fade out, which is very good.
And you could see that all the time they're cutting at his organs that he's enjoying every moment of it.
His face, he's looking at us, but I don't think they can see him live.
Yeah, but he's getting a lot of enjoyment out of it, except for the circular saw, the head saw. I think he was trying to make a face, meaning, "Oh gosh, I'm gonna get."
Oh, that'll give me a headache.
Yeah. Then we fade out. Obviously. Now we move on to
now some
reception.
good bits. My bits. Now a bit of background stuff here.
Here it goes.
Showtime Networks plan to create Body Bags as a television series similar to HBO's Tales from the Crypt.
Sounds good to me.
However, there's always an however.
There's always a
however.
buff.
Shortly after filming began, Showtime decided not to pursue the series. The 3 completed stories were assembled around John Carpenter's narrated segment, and Body Bags became a horror anthology. Go figure it.
That's a drag.
That could have been a really, really, really good
I think
series.
I like the idea of a corpse as a bit of a twist who's just moving around.
The horror host, a bit like the Crypt Keeper and whatever. Yeah, those guys. Yeah. Now here's something. John Carpenter was interviewed for a book, The Prince of Darkness. Carpenter explained his reasoning for working on the project.
Okay, go on.
I wanted to have the experience playing in makeup because he's made up like a ghoul and stuff. Yeah.
Goody.
I thought it would be fun.
I bet he enjoyed it.
Wait. I thought it would be fun, and it wasn't fun.
Oh.
It took hours to get me in that makeup every day.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed
I've been down that path, folks. I've been down there.
I enjoy the stories a lot.
I I have in the past, for the
Yeah.
sake of fun, I have been down that path where I had to put on so much makeup for a particular scene. Well, not really a particular scene. I mean, I did it for a photo shoot one time for fun.
For Halloween, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I wanted,
like,
and
I
so
was a zombie.
yeah, I wanted to see get the experience
undead.
of getting my makeup done by professionals, and of course,
Just to know what the people go through.
and of course, most of the time it was a bit of it took a bit longer than to organise.
Yes. Now, here we go.
Go on.
The soundtrack. I don't normally do this. But John Carpenter and his cat
Meow.
wrote Halloween. It's called ding 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 ding. Yeah, on the piano bit. Yeah, ding ding. That bit. But he didn't use a cat this time.
Don't go there, Mike. Don't go
John
there.
Carpenter and Jim Lang wrote all the music that was in the series. It's this anthology. I mean, the coroner's tune, the picture on the wall, alone, cornered, locked out, blah, 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 it just goes on. So all these bits and pieces of music, there's about 55 minutes worth of music in this. So it was always a bit of music going in the background, lulling around and whatever. Yeah, so John Carpenter had a history of music. I think his father taught him music or something. I can't remember now. Yeah, a long time ago.
It's interesting that how he can balance out doing music, directing, sometimes
Acting.
in such a complex type of film project like this.
He's groovy. He's a talented man. Love him.
It's just good that he didn't do multiple roles in this one. Like I think one actress who did her own anthology series appeared in all the segments as different characters, of course, with different appearances. Of course, I imagine that would have been a lot of work when I think about it. Anyway, going on.
Yeah. I'm just reading ahead here. Critical reception, there's not much here. However, Rotten Tomatoes gave about 67%.
Got it.
And that's obviously viewers, commenting, but 2 critics didn't like it.
Figures.
Time Out called the film an attempt by a pair of one-time horror authors to emulate the successful Tales from the Crypt formula, only now it's nowhere near as happening.
Gee whiz.
No, well, blow it out your ass.
It was originally going to be intended for a TV series.
It was, yeah. Reviewing the film for Variety, Tony Scott stated that none of the 3 playlets breaks barriers, and the writing's perfunctory, but the productions are good. The casting interesting. So it's sort of like, it's in the middle there, but yeah. But honestly, if you like these sort of anthology Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, all that sort of stuff, it's not a bad film.
I like a bit of humour in a horror.
And the humour does actually make it work. Yeah, it does help. Yeah,
it makes you, tries not to take it so seriously. I hate when people, when they do an anthology series or even a movie, in some horror movies, they take away some of the humour in it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be always a comedy horror, but if you have that little bit of light in it, that makes it darker so much more. Yes. So you got a bit of balance of light and dark. So you'd have the light bit. Yeah, look, let's say like Hostel. I don't like Hostel. There's a couple of guys, going on holidays in Europe somewhere, and they act like a bunch of out of control tourists, being dickheads, whatever. And then the horror movie starts probably about, say, 2/3 of the way into the film. But the first 20 minutes or so, I was really bored. But then it picked up the pace, But that sort of got you going, nothing's going to happen here, and all of a sudden some things did happen.
Yeah.
So,
I've had
this have the lighthearted stuff as well as the dark stuff.
I had this conversation at a film festival I've been to not too recently, and I remarked about how great when we were walking back from a film festival, I was remarking about a certain spot that would make for a great horror type of situation, and of course it was both cheerful, and adding a bit of gore to that very scene would probably make it a little bit, give it that balanced tone it was looking for.
Exactly.
Of course, he didn't follow along with me, but then again, we can't always follow each other's how we feel about a film, or how we feel about what vibe we're looking for. I mean, people don't think if it's a cheerful environment, how we're going to make it a horrific.
If you make it, it's sort of like you go to a circus. It's all fun and funny music and everything else, and clowns, acrobats, and then you get a creepy clown or a ringmaster who's bent. He comes out of the shadows there, and he spirits you away into a tent, and you never come out again. Yeah, really good. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, all the good stuff, guys.
Yeah. I also watched an interesting commercial. I didn't know how old it was or how new it was, but I thought that there was something creepy about it, where it deals with a kid walking, in the neighborhood, and this van pulls up, and he has a chocolate bar, in his hand. And the kid gets excited, and he kind of climbs into the van, and the guy hands him the chocolate bar with a very, not so creepy, but really welcoming smile. And I thought it was a bit weird, because when he gets into the van, he locks the door and he drives away. While it didn't seem creepy, but I thought, this seems like not so right situation.
Yeah.
It's my opinion that sometimes even though I'm not sure how long ago this commercial was, but it gave off weird vibes. Like, giving the it wasn't one of those ice cream trucks, Mike. No. It was an ordinary white van that could be mistaken for anything you may have noticed on the streets.
Come on, Freddie, get
in. And it didn't seem quite right if it gives you the wrong impression that children should get into someone's van and even after they're offered chocolate.
Well, chocolate is very tempting.
It's tempting, but it does send the wrong message. Like, some people often say, never accept candy or chocolate from a stranger. Or
and beware of Greeks bearing gifts. And so if you've got a Greek with chocolates, you've got double trouble.
Yes. It's another message there, guys. So, anyway, so the reception was not really good.
Oh, no, Rotten Tomatoes, that's people voting on it. They liked it.
Yeah.
But just two reviewers and magazines that weren't overly happy about it. One was a bit negative, one was a bit average. So, but the point is, you either like this stuff or you don't like it. Well, and that's where a lot of these reviewers have got no idea.
Well, they were in an impasse, guys, and technically they were trying to go for a TV show thingy, but they didn't. So they ended up doing it to a TV special.
Talking about that, see, a long time ago, I think I mentioned this movie sometime before, a couple of years ago, but back in 1964, there was a film made, came out, but initially it wasn't supposed to be a film. It was supposed to be a 45-minute or whatever it is pilot for a TV series called The Haunted, I think. And the TV station put the money towards it. Martin Landau played the role of an architect who was also a ghost hunter.
Yeah, you told me about this one.
And they made it and said, nah, it's not going in the right direction. So they made one, and it's, no, I'm not going to follow through on it.
Yeah.
So to save a few dollars, they did some extra film footage to make it into a feature film. So they added an extra 30 minutes to filming.
Yeah, wasn't this the one you told me once or twice before, Mike, that that has never been shown the light of day after that?
It disappeared off the market. It did the rounds. It was syndicated probably in America. Hit some of the TV stations here years ago, and then it just disappeared. Whatever copy or copies were around, they just weren't anywhere. They never made it to VHS. Didn't make it to DVD. And all of a sudden, about I think 4 or 5 years ago, it finally got released, and it got released as a double header. The original 45-minute TV pilot, plus the movie, which has also been digitally remastered. Yeah, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, something about the fact that they thought it was too scary for television.
Well, I didn't like the direction it was going. I think they thought it might have been too scary, but it wasn't that scary. But it was the direction it was going for the TV production company, the guys with the money saying, not where we want to be. we'll call it quits now. But to save a bit of money, they made it in a film.
Yeah. I mean, compared to a lot of other horrific movies and TV shows out there, I've seen this one, obviously, the Haunted, and it does come off as just
well, for that time.
For that time, it would have been not completely scary.
No, it would have been pretty reasonably scary for then.
For
it's
them.
about 1964. By today's standard, it's a bit lame, but by their standards, which 64 is going back a few years.
I know, 64 is a long
Have a think
time
about
ago.
it. Come on, how many years is that?
Quite a great distance.
60 odd
but
years ago.
It doesn't give it. It doesn't raise. It doesn't excuse it that they just pretty much lock it away for that long. Even though a lot of horrors came out years later, which would be a run for my money because they're either too very horrific or too scary. And compared to those ones, this one comes off as not as horrific as. And I don't think it's an excuse that they just keep it locked away.
Something, if my memory serves me correctly,
yes,
I'm not sure, but I think Joseph Stefano did the screenplay for it.
Yeah, you told me this part too.
Yeah, so it had a lot of good things happening for it. And it just died in its bum because the production company, the TV station, whatever, said, no, we're not going to do this.
It's just ridiculous that such a movie like this...
Yeah. This could make something.
Yeah, even though it doesn't seem as horrific as... I mean, it's... I don't know their definition of horror back then, but it was this would not be... I mean, you watched it when you were young, Mike, back then.
Yeah.
Was it really scary back then to you?
I thought it was creepy. Yeah, it had a ghost in it. Look, they didn't have computer-generated stuff back then. They had to do layering and screen projection and stuff. But for what it was back in those days, which accepted Norman filming, it was pretty good. The ghost bit looked a bit like the alien creature in the first Outer Limits movie. That light creature came down through the radio station. Looked a bit like that because they had to do some sort of superimposing onto the film and stuff. So yeah, that sort of stuff. But you brush that aside and say, well, that's...
I would have liked it, Mike, if they did went with a TV series. Then
would have been good, maybe,
then we could see how far down the rabbit hole Orlando would have gone.
Yeah. So, but you
was Orlando?
Martin Landau.
Martin Orlando would have gone. Like, whatever mysterious thingy wings would he encounter along the way?
If they had some good storylines, it could have been a good series. Mm-hmm. But the first one wasn't too bad. The Ghost of Sierra de Cobre, for those of you who want to go looking for it. Yeah, yes, Ghost of Sierra de Cobre, 1964, starring Martin Landau. Dame Judith Anderson was in it. I can't remember the other people's names.
Yeah, I'd like to see where it would have gone, like what other things you may have encountered, like what other mysteries, like maybe alien stuff, maybe witchcraft, maybe even other stuff.
I think it's so haunted. It was about hauntings.
I know.
Not aliens.
I know, but it makes me think of what's that other supernatural?
Well, we had the
what's that one about that journalist who often encounters such things, but he tries to write...
Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker one.
McGowan,
where in that one he encounters things, but instead of writing them up in his journal... He writes much that
no one's going to believe this throws away.
Yeah. I wonder how he would he makes a living without writing this stuff.
He worked for the newspaper, got paid. But the point is, you look at that. You talk about that show. Okay, look. All these shows which had these short story type things. Had years ago, you had Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits.
Later on, I should definitely watch.
Later on, I think they did a remake of The Outer Limits or Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone was redone, and then they had Night Gallery was thrown in there, and you had Night Stalker came in. And you had all these one-off stories, and they're really, really good. Some were taken out of short stories, which are old ones which have been dusted off. And
like Lovecraft?
Yeah, Lovecraft type stuff, yeah. And they're put in there, and it's really, really good. And then we thought, then I started making movies, anthologies. Same idea. And anthologies are good because instead of trying to pad out a story to make an hour and a half to 2 hours, you bunk 3 or 4 stories.
That's another thing, Mike. I was just thinking, I should definitely try to at least one night watch The Night Stalker with you. Or
Well, you just...
how many seasons are there?
Wait a minute. There's one or two movies. There's one or two movies, and then there's a series as well. So we could have a look at the movie.
How many seasons are there? It
wasn't many. One or two seasons, I think. It wasn't huge. It ran its course, which is fine. But the thing is, what they did during those episodes, they kept it alive and fun. So yeah. Mm.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to go to bed. No.
So let's rate it now.
We
haven't rated now, yeah, we
can't find anything majorly wrong with it. Okay. Gas station was a good story.
Yeah, if that was a lot longer that would have made a really good feature length type story.
You put out a lot of padding.
Yeah, I guess like scenes with her friends.
When you keep it nice and tight, you can actually get more out of it, more dynamics out of it. So I like how it is. Hair, that was good.
I feel like I meant the gasoline one would have made for a good feature.
Tell you, the gas station one was probably the best, and I say the one of the eye one was the second best. I say the hair one was the third best, but some people might disagree with me. And that's nothing to do with the actors. I'm just saying the stories for me. But no, I'm going to give it about a 9 because I like anthologies,
same.
and it's been well done by one of our masters, John Carpenter.
2 of our masters.
Okay. One of my favourites, and the other guy, John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper.
Yeah. Yes.
But no, they both did really, really good bringing these stories to life.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun. Anyway.
Yeah.
Life, crypt, like dead bodies, morgues.
Yeah, I'm going to give it...
he was wasted.
I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 myself.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's pretty good too, and I like the fact that he put himself in the scene.
It was fun, yeah.
And to make it more of a John Carpenter, persona.
Yeah.
And it would have been great if there was a TV series. I would have loved to see where how deep the story would have gone, like all the time you're watching it, and even though I do wonder though, would they naturally reveal that he was not the morgue officer working there if they did do a TV series about it?
Well, if they're going to do the TV series, they probably wouldn't have done the autopsy, cut his body open and buried him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, where do you get it?
Ooh.
You can get it, folks. eBay, it is for sale. Amazon, you can rent it, and it's for sale. However, being an oldie,
and a newbie,
you got to watch out for VHS tapes. You got to watch out for laser discs. There's a couple of those out there I saw. So keep your eyes open. And I also noticed there's a couple of other products called body bags out there.
Yes.
So when you go looking for it, it's Body Bags, 1993. Johnny Carpenter. And well, Sarah's going to have the details anyway, but be careful, otherwise you might get the wrong product.
Exactly so.
But, if Amazon and eBay got it, you probably find some other sites as well. So your streaming services or whatever, and other places which sell gear. So it's a good fun watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I say it is. So guys, you know where to find it, and the year for it is 1993 on it. So that's a good hint of the year it came out in, obviously, and we'll give you the impression on where to find it, obviously.
Where do you get it?
Where do you get it? Amazon and eBay, if you can.
Yeah, no, eBay, Amazon, they got other guys have it too, probably.
You may find a few other places out there, but I definitely recommend checking out the Amazon and eBay. Would be my best bet.
Yeah, do the right thing. You go and buy a copy. John Carpenter has to feed his cat.
Yeah. Anyway, so you know where to find it, and as I said before, it's a good watch.
It's fun. Yeah, it's good fun watch. And, enough humour in it to keep it light, and enough darkness in it to make it interesting.
I do wish that for an anthology series like this one, it would have at least 2 more stories to...
No, well, they were longer. They were actually made as longer stories to go into a TV show, you see. So these were already made.
Yeah.
And they just... So you can't say, oh, that one's a short one, maybe a long one. No, they're about 40 minutes each.
I got to
so
admit, though, the gasoline story, I think I've heard a few more ones that did the same story here and there in the past. Yeah. I can't really say.
Yeah,
but,
they would have been about...
But I think that sort of story keeps coming up so often, you know.
Each story would have been about 20, 25 minutes long. And you had the John Carpenter bits of the morgue attendant thrown in there and stuff, and so it's about 20. Yeah, so it would have been a half-hour show they were trying to float.
Anyway, so you guys know where to find it, and you know when it was made. So anyway, that's it from us tonight, guys. So be sure to check it out and let us know in the comments what you guys think and which of these stories is your favorite. It's always good to ask. So that's it from us, guys. So you know where to find us again for our next podcast. So this is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael
saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.